as we're now getting towards the end of Season 5 in the finals. I thought it'd be worthwhile taking some time to sit down and talk about where the game's at this point, and more specifically, what I think around TDM or Team Deathmatch, and ultimately why I just don't think it's worthwhile having it in the finals. As someone who's played the finals on and off since the game released, the reason I keep going back to it is because it really has the most unique gameplay and overall identity versus any other FPS title on the market right now. But by adding Team Deathmatch into that mix, it really does take away from that unique feeling. Embark have added in a game mode which is synonymous with FPS gameplay, but in my opinion really doesn't fit the aesthetic of the finals and what they've built up to this point. We're used to innovative gameplay which is very objective focused and emphasises teamwork and destruction overall, but TDM kind of draws it back to the very basic fundamental FPS gaming. I mentioned teamwork there because again, TDM doesn't encourage teamwork whatsoever. The majority of Team Deathmatch rounds I've played have resulted in everyone in the lobby just playing as a light player, ultimately just playing as a lone wolf and obviously going for the kills. In my opinion, that's not what the finals is about. The finals to me is about squads, composition and playing with your teammates tactically to successfully complete the objectives and cashing out. And like I mentioned, the focus on destruction, verticality, and dynamic objectives is obviously stripped out when you look at Team Deathmatch. It is the game in its most basic form, just running and gunning, and even the destructive elements of the finals seem to be kind of pulled out because no one's interested in doing that when you're just playing for the kills and in TDM generally. I think the key thing for me though is really about the effect it's going to have and will have on the player base in the longer term. For someone like me who plays the game relatively frequently but not all the time, Team Deathmatch is just something to hop into if I want to try out a new gun or some other sort of setup on one of the different sizes of character. But with the finals not having the size and the scale of a player base as a Call of Duty, an Apex Legends or a Fortnite, what could end up happening is that the player base does become more and more divided. And equally, as an entryway to the game, you're getting people in the door playing the same game mode they've played in every single other FPS. Whereas those of us who were playing from the beginning of the title and when it first released, got used to playing the new unique game modes that the finals is known for. If people come in now and just see the same Team Deathmatch as they see in every other FPS, do you think they're actually going to stick around, or are they going to just bail out straight away? No matter how good the gameplay is, if it's not being showcased in the way that the World Tour, Cash Out or Quick Cash modes do, I am concerned there just won't be any sticking power. And let's face it, I think this just goes straight up against the game's core philosophy. Embark definitely didn't make the finals to be the same as every other traditional shooter. I understand why they may have done it to try and attract people who expect a standard kind of first-person experience, but again, the question does remain, will those people still stick it out for the longer term if they then dabble in the more final-centric game modes? Up to this point, it's a bit unsure, and with the game having gained some momentum over the past 4 to 6 months, it would be such a shame to see that kind of quashed by the developers' choice to shift approaches and kind of rein in their creativity. Adding TDM in its own right is certainly not a deal breaker or the end of the road for the finals in its entirety. And I'd like to think that Embark are going to be smart about this and see the impact that it has over the medium term and then decide whether it's actually worthwhile keeping in the game. For me, TDM is always just going to be a little game mode I jump into to warm up or just play around with different classes before hopping into what actually makes the finals great. I just don't want people to never see the great bits because they're so stuck on TDM and can never be bothered to actually delve a bit deeper. Let me know if you've been playing the finals and how you found Season 5. Thanks as always for your time, and I'm sure I'll catch you in the next one.